York Mayor Michael Bloomberg is throwing some big money behind a campaign to fight gun violence. He's personally bankrolling a multi-million-dollar series of ads that will push for tighter regulation. Let's bring in our Asha Tomlinson with more on this. Asha, what can we expect from this campaign?
Well, Christine, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has been very vocal about his support for stricter gun laws. Now he's putting his money where his mouth is, $12 million to be exact, for these television commercials, asking U.S. senators to throw their support behind legislation that would really expand background checks for those people purchasing guns. Have a look at one of those ads.
With rights come responsibilities. That's why I support comprehensive background checks, so criminals and the dangerously mentally ill can't buy guns.
And these ads will be running in 13 states starting today or tomorrow. They'll also call on American citizens to put pressure on their senators to back this proposed legislation. Bloomberg was on NBC's Meet the Press earlier today, and he was asked why he's doing this. This was his answer.
I think I have a responsibility, and I think you and all of your viewers have responsibilities to try to make this country safer for our families and for each other. And if I can do that by spending some money and taking the NRA from being the only voice to being one of the voices so the public can really understand the issues, then I think my money would be well spent, and I think I have an obligation to do that.
The NRA being the National Rifle Association, of course, gun control has been a hot button issue since the Newtown massacre back in December. Today marks 100 days since that tragedy that took 20 children shot dead. 6 employees, school employees as well, died by a lone gunman, and a lot of talk since that time about what to do, what the solution is for guns in America. These ads will be running during a congressional recess, and that's ahead of an April vote by the Senate, Christine, that will be voting on new legislation, including federal aid for school safety, tougher penalties for gun trafficking, and broader background checks for gun purchases.
You know, as you mentioned, Asha, ever since the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, we've also seen how seriously Americans take their gun ownership. What's been the reaction to this move?
Well, the National Rifle Association also very vocal, saying that gun restrictions are not the answer. In fact, after Newtown happened, the CEO of the NRA saying that there should instead be armed guards at every school. That's the solution. So it's no surprise that Wayne LaPierre, the CEO, says he believes the ad campaign will fall flat and that it'll fail. He did his own interview on Meet the Press and said that it won't catch, these broader background checks won't catch all of the illegal gun purchases. And he says, quote, "The whole thing, universal checks, is a dishonest premise. Criminals aren't going to be checked. They're not going to do this." It's a very polarizing debate, as we know, in the U.S. that continues, although right at the top, U.S. President Barack Obama says that he's for these checks. So it'll be interesting to see in April, Christine, if it'll get pushed through the Senate.
Definitely. Asha, thanks so much for this.
You're welcome.